Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. I'm Dave Gordon, the County Superintendent of Schools here in Sacramento, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 11th Annual Sacramento County Poetry Out Loud Competition. This is one of ours and my favorite student events. Our terrific presenters have invested a great deal of time and energy getting ready for today. Prepare to be very much impressed by them. I know we always are. I want to thank the Rosemont High School staff and the Sacramento Unified District staff for providing us this wonderful auditorium. And I also want to thank the coordinators from each of the schools. They have put in a tremendous amount of work in supporting our young people, and we thank them. Let's give them a nice round of applause. Would you stand, please, the coordinators who are here? Thank you so much. Before I continue, I'd like to introduce a member of our County Board of Education who is here today. Generally, we have 2 or 3 of our board members, and circumstances have prevented others from being here, but serving today also is one of our judges, Trustee Greg Geeting. Now, I don't have to tell you that there is so much evidence today that poetry and the other arts are very, very meaningful in helping students not only in learning about the arts and perfecting their performances, but also in their academic studies as well. Every study that we have shows that a strong grounding and participation in the arts is a great boost to student achievement and student performance. The trouble is, we never act on that, and we're very, very hopeful that now that we have a local control funding formula, that people will step up in the local school districts, be they parents, advocates, board members, and try to make sure that the arts begin to make a comeback in our schools. And I know that's happening in some of our school districts. It's happening in some of our charter schools. And right here in Sacramento County, we have some great examples of school districts and charter schools that others can emulate. So we are hoping that with this new funding model, we will have a resurgence and a renaissance of the arts in our schools. It can only make them richer for it and make our young people richer for it. I know my oldest granddaughter, who's a senior in high school now, really was frightened to participate in theater because she can't sing. She just can't sing. Not a good singer. But she did decide to take the honors theater class. And they made her into a stage manager. And what happened was they chronically didn't have enough understudies, so since she was the only one who knew everybody's lines, she ended up doing an awful lot of performing. And it was really a great thing for her level of confidence and her level of appreciation of all the work that goes into a theater production. And I think if we could afford that to so many more of our kids, we would be all the better for it down the road. So today we get to enjoy the many talented students who will stand before us and help make us more aware of the world around us through poetry. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our Master of Ceremonies. Jeff Knorr has been selected to serve as Sacramento's Poet Laureate from 2012 to 2015 with an extended extra year. Thank you, Jeff, for getting the extra year. Jeff is the author of books of poetry and anthologies. His poetry and essays have appeared in numerous literary journals and anthologies. He currently directs the River City Writers Series at Sacramento City College. Jeff has been the chair of the English department at Sacramento City College and has also served on the Sacramento County Office of Education Arts Advisory Board. Please give a warm welcome to Jeff Knorr.
Welcome, and thank you to Superintendent Gordon for those wonderful comments about the arts and our participants today. As we begin, let me please make some introductions as we start. I would like to recognize first Sherry Arnold, our project specialist from the Sacramento County Office of Education. Thank you, Sherry, for all of your hard work and dedication to spearhead this and put this on. Also, I don't know if anyone is here from the California Arts Council, but thank you so much for your support of this event today and all of the participants that are here. So thank you to the California Arts Council. And we have a poet in the audience, Joanne Anglin, who has been a wonderful support for so many people, both in the past and the present, our presenters. Joanne, are you here? Is Joanne here? Anyway, I'd like to recognize Joanne, so thank you for all of her hard work. The National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation have partnered with the U.S. state arts agencies to support Poetry Out Loud, a contest that encourages the nation's youth to learn about great poetry through memorization and recitation. And you will see the amazing product of their hard work today. Poetry Out Loud uses a pyramid structure that starts at the classroom level. Winners advance through their school-wide competitions and then to a regional or state competition, and ultimately to the national finals, which are held in Washington, D.C. And with any really great luck and performance, one of you will be in D.C. That's what we're all going to keep our fingers crossed for. So today we will select our Sacramento County representative to the state competition. Before we do that and move forward into the competition, I'd like to introduce our judges for today. Ronnie Bopla. Welcome, Ronnie. Thank you so much for judging today. She's an educator who serves on the Sacramento Poetry Center board, and she's on the education team at the Crocker Art Museum. She's the editor of Poetry Now and moderates a poetry workshop at the Valley High North Laguna Library. Thank you so much, Ronnie. Steve Caruso. Steve has a bachelor's degree in English literature and has spent the last 12 years managing local nonprofits that primarily serve the poor and the homeless. Thank you for your service today, Steve. Again, Greg Geeting, our Sacramento County Office of Education board member and trustee from Area 1. Thank you for being here again, Greg. Danyon Powell, a published poet, a well-published poet, and the facilitator for a weekly Tuesday night poetry workshop for over 16 years that's been sponsored by the Sacramento Metropolitan Arts Commission. Danyon, thank you so much for your service today. And Dr. Stephen Winlock, the Executive Director of the Sacramento County Office of Education Leadership Institute, a TV personality, theater performer, and educational motivator. Thank you, Steve. Our accuracy judge for today is Melanie Slutweg. Thank you, Melanie. Our prompter, a very important person in case you guys need to be prompted, Cheryl Roberts. Thank you, Cheryl. Our Director of Student Orientation, and who will be a wonderful person to keep the flow moving today, is Mark Drews. And our scorekeeper is Relda Yeoman from the County Office of Education. One more round of applause, and this should come from this side. I think it's important we've recognized the judges and the people at the schools who have partaken in supporting you and helping coach you through this. But of course, whenever we compete and we step into something and work hard at it, obviously, there are people at our homes who support us with so much energy behind each one of us. And so with that, and it's clear that they're all here today, and that was perfect. We want the bell to go off when I'm talking, not when you're reciting. With that, I would like to have a round of applause for all the parents and family members who are here today and supporting. Thank you so much for coming out. Just a few housekeeping and general competition rules before we get going. Please turn off your cell phones or silence them so that they do not go off during the competition. Please stay quiet during the recitations to give students real optimum conditions for reciting their poem and keeping their wits about them. Of course, the lights are bright up here. They won't really be able to see you, but it's nerve-wracking getting up here and reciting a poem in front of everyone. Please remain seated during the recitations. You may enter and exit the theater between student recitations. Bathrooms are in the lobby if you need them, as well as a drinking fountain. There will be bell alerts for the Rosemont High School students during the competition, as we just heard, and we have no control, unfortunately, to turn the bells off or on at certain times, so we'll try to manage the flow of the program so that nobody is in the middle of their recitation when a bell goes off, and I think we will be able to do that without anything happening. However, if for some reason a bell does go off during a recitation, the student will have the opportunity to pause and begin again when the bell is over from where they have paused and left off, or to start over again. There will be 2 rounds for students to recite their poems. In round 1, the school winners will recite their first selected poem, and they will go in ABC order according to their first names. There will be a short tally break between each recitation for the judges and scorekeepers to tally scores, and then after round 1, there will be another break, sort of intermission of sorts, and there will be refreshments in the lobby for you. In round 2, students will recite their second poems in ABC order by their last names. After the 2 rounds are complete, the tabulator and scorekeeper will tally the final scores. And if there is a tie score, the student with the highest overall performance score will win. If that also results in a tie, the highest accuracy score will count. If scores remain tied yet again, each of the 2 finalists will choose one of their poems to recite again as a separate score to break the tie. With the final tabulation, we will announce the Sacramento County Poetry Out Loud runner-up and winner, who will move forward to represent our county in the state competition, which is in March, and always a wonderful experience. If you enjoy this one, I recommend going to the state competition and watching that. What I do want to say is that to be here already is quite an accomplishment. And I don't want any of you to not feel proud of that and to remember after today, even if you don't win this competition, to remember how far you've come already in the competition and what you've accomplished, and that's huge. Also, don't forget that as we go through competitions, we sharpen our skills. There's a takeaway always that's positive, and we come out of the competitions better than when we went in. And I know that some of you are not seniors this year, and you'll be able to come back next year with sharpened, honed skills and compete again, and we look forward to that, okay? With that said, good luck to all of you, because I know you're going to slay it today, and you're going to bring your game. So we're looking forward to that for sure. All right. With all that said, let's get on to the competition. And our first reciter for the day is Angel Ford from Heritage Peak Charter School, whose favorite poet is Edgar Albert Guest, and she's also interested in theater. Welcome, Angel.
Hello. Today I'm going to be reciting The Animals in That Country by Margaret Atwood. In that country, the animals have the faces of people. The ceremonial cats possessing the streets, the fox run politely to earth, the huntsmen standing around him, fixed in their tapestry of manners. The bull, embroidered with blood and given an elegant death. Trumpets, his name stamped on him, heraldic brand, because when he rolled on the sand, sword in his heart, the teeth in his blue mouth were human. He is really a man. Even the wolves, holding resonant conversations in their forests, thickened with legend. In this country, The animals have the faces of animals. Their eyes flash once in car headlights and are gone. Their deaths are not elegant. They have the faces of no one. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel. Our next poetry reciter today is Bruce Ruiz from Luther Burbank High School. His favorite poet is Edgar Allan Poe, and he loves to play basketball. Welcome, Bruce.
Since There Is No Escape by Sara, Teasdale. Since there is no escape, since, at the end, my body will be utterly destroyed. This hand I love, as I've loved a friend. This body I tended, wept with and enjoyed. Since there's no escape, even for me, who love life with a love too sharp to bear. The scent of orchards in the rain, the sea, and hours alone, too still and sure for prayer. Since darkness waits for me, then all the more. Let me go down as waves sweep to the shore in pride, and let me sing with my last breath. In these few hours of light, I lift my head. Life is my lover. I shall leave the dead. If there is any way to baffle death. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Our next presenter is Chigozie Maduchukwu from Pleasant Grove High School, whose favorite poet is Linda Paston and is involved in the Mathematics and Science Olympiad and does peer mediation. Welcome, Chigozie.
Hi, I'm going to be reciting Filling Station by Elizabeth Bishop. Oh, but it is dirty. This little filling station. Oil soaked, oil permeated to a disturbing overall black translucency. Be careful with that match. Father wears a dirty, oil-soaked monkey suit that cuts him under the arms, and several quick and saucy and greasy sons assist him. It's a family filling station, all quite thoroughly dirty. Do they live in the station? It has a cement porch behind the pumps, and on it a set of crushed and grease-impregnated wickerwork. On the wicker sofa, a dirty dog, quite comfy. Some comic books provide the only note of color of certain color. They lie upon a big, dim doily, draping a tabaret, part of the set, beside a big hirsute begonia. Why the extraneous plant? Why the tabaret? Why, oh why, the doily, embroidered in daisy stitch with marguerites, I think, and heavy with gray crochet. Somebody embroidered the doily. Somebody waters the plant, or oils it, maybe. Somebody arranges the rows of cans so that they softly say, eso, so, to high-strung automobiles. Somebody loves us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chigozie. Our next presenter is DeAna Soto from Inderkum High School. Her favorite poet is Maya Angelou, and she's involved in drumline, guitar, and singing as well. Welcome, DeAna.
Hi, I will be reciting the poem Bleeding Heart by Carmen Jimenez Smith. My heart is bleeding. It bleeds upward and fills my mouth up with salt. It bleeds because of a city in ruins, the chair still warm from sister's body, because it will all be irreproducible. My heart bleeds because of baby bear not finding mama bear, and it bleeds to the tips of my fingers like I painted my nails crimson. Sometimes my heart bleeds so much I am a raisin. It bleeds until I am a quivering, ragged clot. Bleeds at the ending, with the heroine and her sunken cancer eyes. At the ending, with the plaintive flute over smoke-choked killing fields. I'm bleeding a river of blood right now, and it is wearing a culvert in me for the blood. My heart rises up in me, becomes the cork of me, and I choke on it. I am bleeding for you and for me and for the tiny babies and the IED blown leg. It bleeds because I'm made that way, all filled up with blood, my sloppy heart a sponge, filled with blood to squeeze onto any circumstance. Because it is mine, it will always bleed. My heart bled today. It bled onto the streets and the steps of City Hall. It bled in the pizza parlor with the useless jukebox. I've got so much blood to give inside and outside of any milieu. Even for a bad zoning decision, I'll bleed so much, you'll be bleeding. All of us bleeding in and out like it's breathing or kissing. And because it is righteous and terrible and red. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DeAna. Next, we have Ealaisa Farschman from Cornerstone Christian School, who greatly enjoys reading and drawing and whose favorite books are by C.S. Lewis and J.K. Rowling. Welcome, Ealaisa.
Ode by Arthur O'Shaughnessy. We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams. Wandering by lone sea breakers and sitting by desolate streams. World losers and world forsakers on whom the pale moon gleams. Yet we are the movers and shakers of the world forever, it seems. With wonderful, deathless ditties, we built up the world's great cities. And out of a fabulous story, we fashion an empire's glory. One man with a dream at pleasure shall go forth and conquer a crown. And three, with a new song's measure, can trample an empire down. We, in the ages lying in the buried past of the earth, built Nineveh with our sighing, and Babel itself with our mirth, and o'erthrew them with prophesying to the old of the new world's worth. For each age is a dream that is dying, or one that is coming to birth. Thank you.
Thank you, Ealaisa. Next is Emily Rassikhin from Futures High. Her favorite poet is John Donne, and she also enjoys playing the piano, drawing, and singing. Welcome, Emily.
My name is Emily Rassikhin, and I will be reciting Holy Sonnets, Batter My Heart, Three-Personed God, by John Donne. Batter my heart, three-personed God, for you as yet but knock. Breathe, shine, and seek to mend, that I may rise and stand, o'erthrow me and bend your force to break, blow, burn, and make me new. I, like an usurped town to another do, labor to admit you, but oh to no end. Reason, your viceroy in me should defend, but is captived and proves weak or untrue. Yet, dearly, I love you, and would be loved fain, but am betrothed unto your enemy. Divorce me, untie or break that knot again. Take me to you, imprison me, for I, except you enthrall me, never shall be free, nor ever chaste except you ravish me. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Next, we have Hannah Oldfield from Rio Americano High School, who loves Terrence Hayes as a poet, plays saxophone, clarinet, and flute. Welcome, Hannah.
Memory as a Hearing Aid by Tony Hoagland. Somewhere, someone is asking a question, and I stand squinting at the classroom with one hand cupped behind my ear, trying to figure out where that voice is coming from. I might be already an old man, attempting to recall the night his hearing got misplaced, front row center at a battle of the bands where a lot of leather-clad, second-rate musicians, amped up to dinosaur proportions, test drove their equipment through our ears. Each time the drummer threw a tantrum, the guitarist whirled and sprayed us with machine gun riffs as if they wished that they could knock us quite literally dead. We called that fun in 1970 when we weren't sure our lives were worth surviving. I'm here to tell you that they were, and many of us did, despite ourselves, though the road from there to here is paved with dead brain cells, parents shocked to silence, and squad cars painting the whole neighborhood the quaking tint and texture of red jelly. Friends, we should have postmarks on our foreheads to show where we have been. We should have pointed ears or polka-dotted skin to show what we were thinking when we hot-rodded over God's front lawn and death kept blinking. But here I stand, an average-looking man staring at a room where someone blonde in braids with a beautiful belief in answers is still asking questions. Through the silence in my dead ear, I can almost hear the future whisper to the past. It says that this is not a test, and everybody passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Next, we have Janelle Reyes from Capital Christian High. Her favorite poet is Edgar Allan Poe, and she's also a cheerleader. Welcome, Janelle.
Domestic Situation by Ernest Hilbert. Maybe you've heard about this, maybe not. A man came home and chucked his girlfriend's cat in the wood chipper. This really happened. Dinner wasn't ready on time. A lot of other little things went wrong. He spat on her father, who came out when he learned about it. He also broke her pinky, stole her checks, and got her sister pregnant. But she stood by him, stood strong through it all because she loved him. She loved him. You see, she actually said that, and then she went and married him. She felt some unique call. Don't try to understand what another person means by love. Don't even bother. Domestic Situation by Ernest Hilbert.
Thank you, Janelle. I think next year we should make you guys perform one of your extracurricular activities as well. You're all so richly talented. I want to hear like piano and saxophone and all these other things, you know. All right. Next, we have Jeffrey Revello from Elk Grove High. He enjoys Walt Whitman. He's also the captain of his tennis team and the ASB Rally Commissioner. Welcome, Jeffrey.
Hello, everybody. I will be reciting Quite Frankly by Mark Halliday. They got old. They got old and died. But first, they composed plangent depictions of how much they lost and how much cared about losing. Meantime, their hair got thin and more thin as their shoulders went slumpy. Okay, but not before the photo albums got arranged by them. Arranged with a niftiness. Not just 2 or 3, but 18 photo albums. Yes, 18 eventually. 18 albums proving the beauty of them and not someone else. Them and their relations and friends, incontrovertible. Playing croquet in that Bloomington yard. Floating on those comic inflatables at Dow Lake. Giggling at the Dairy Queen. Waltzing at the wedding. Building a Lego palace on the porch. Holding the baby beside the rental truck. Leaning on the Hemingway statue at Pamplona. Discussing the eternity of art in that Sardinian restaurant. Yes. And so, quite frankly, at the end of the day, they got old and died, okay, sure, but quite frankly, how much does that matter in view of the 18 photo albums? Big ones, 13 inches by 12 inches each, full of such undeniable beauty. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Our next presenter is Kaitlyn Cooey from John F. Kennedy High School, whose favorite poet is Sylvia Plath. Welcome, Kaitlyn.
Hello, I will be reciting Blackberry by Sylvia Plath. Nobody in the lane and nothing but blackberries. Blackberries on either side, though on the right mainly. A blackberry alley going down in hooks and a sea somewhere at the end of it, heaving. Blackberries big as the ball of my thumb and as dumb as eyes, ebon in the hedges, with blue head juices. These they squander on my fingers. I had not asked for such a blood sisterhood. They must love me. They accommodate themselves to my milk bottle, flattening their sides. Overhead go the choughs in black cacophonous flocks, bits of burnt paper wheeling in a blown sky. Theirs is the only voice, protesting, protesting. I do not think the sea will appear at all. The high green meadows are glowing, as if lit from within. I come to one bush of berries so ripe, it is a bush of flies, hanging their blue-green bellies and their wing panes in a Chinese screen. The honey feast of the berries has stunned them. They believe in heaven. One more hook, and the berries and bushes end. The only thing now to come is the sea. From between two hills, a sudden wind funnels at me, slapping its phantom laundry in my face. These hills are too green and sweet to have tasted salt. I follow the sheep path between them. A last hook brings me to the hill's northern face, and the face is orange rock that looks out on nothing. Nothing but a great space of white and pewter lights and a din like silversmiths beating and beating at an intractable metal. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaitlyn. Our next presenter is Natalie Berry from Rio Linda High School. She enjoys choir and singing and plays piano. Welcome, Natalie.
Bleeding Heart by Carmen Jimenez Smith. My heart is bleeding. It bleeds upward and fills my mouth up with salt. It bleeds because of a city in ruins. The chair, still warm from sister's body, because it will all be irreproducible. My heart bleeds because of baby bear not finding mama bear, and it bleeds the tips of my fingers like I painted my nails crimson. Sometimes, my heart bleeds so much I am a raisin. It bleeds until I'm a quivering, ragged clot, bleed at the ending with the heroine in her sunken cancer eyes, bleed at the ending with a plaintive flute over smoke-choked killing fields. I am bleeding a river of blood right now, and it's wearing a culvert in me for the blood. My heart rises up in me, becomes the cork of me, and I choke on it. I am bleeding for you, and for me, and for the tiny babies in the IED blown leg. It bleeds because I am made that way, all filled up with blood. My sloppy heart a sponge filled with blood to squeeze into any circumstance. And because it is mine, it will always bleed. My heart bled today. It bled onto the city streets and the steps of City Hall. It bled in the pizza parlor with the useless jukebox. I've got so much blood to give inside and outside of any milieu. Even for a bad zoning decision, I'll bleed so much you'll be bleeding, all of us bleeding in and out like it's breathing or kissing. And because it is righteous and terrible and red. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Next, we have Paul Yegorov. Paul is from Center High. He's a member of his high school's cross-country and track teams. Welcome, Paul.
Requests for Toy Piano by Tony Hoagland.
play the one about the family of the ducks, where the ducks go down to the river and one of them thinks the water will be cold. But then they jump in anyway and like it and splash around. No. I must play the one about the nervous man from Palestine in row 14 with a brown bag in his lap in which a gun is hidden in a sandwich. Play the one about the handsome man and woman standing on the steps of her apartment, and how the darkness and her perfume and the beating of their hearts conjoin to make them feel like leaping from the edge of chance. No, I should play the one about the hard rectangle of the credit card hidden in the man's back pocket, and how the woman spent an hour plucking out her brows, and how her perfume was made from the destruction of 100 flowers. Then play the one about the flower industry, in which the migrant workers curse their own infected hands from tossing sheaves of roses and carnations into the back of the refrigerated trucks. No. I must play the one about the single yellow daffodil standing on my kitchen table, whose cut stem draws the water upwards so that the plant is flushed with the conviction that the water has been sent to find and raise it up from somewhere so deep inside the earth not even flowers can remember. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Next, we have Sara DeBlonk from Natomas High, who enjoys writing stories and creating in-depth characters. Welcome, Sara.
For the Young Who Want To, by Marge Piercy. Talent is what they say you have after the novel is published and favorably reviewed. Before that, what you have is a tedious delusion, a hobby, like knitting. Work is what you've done after the play is produced and the audience claps. Before that, friends keep asking when you're planning to go out and get a job. Genius is what they know you had after the 3rd volume of Remarkable Poems. Earlier, they accused you of withdrawing, ask why you don't have a baby, call you a bum. The reason people want MFAs, take workshops with fancy names when all you really learn are a few techniques, typing instructions, and somebody else's mannerisms, is that every artist lacks a license to hang on the wall, like your optician, your vet, proving you may be a clumsy sadist whose fillings fall in the stew, but you're certified a dentist. The real writer is one who really writes. Talent is an invention like phlogiston after the fact of fire. Work is its own cure. You have to like it better than being loved. Thank you.
Thank you, Sara. And our final contestant for round 1 is Stephan Alfaro from Del Campo High School, who likes Henry Wadsworth Longfellow and also enjoys playing guitar and singing. Welcome, Stephan.
What lips my lips have kissed, and where and why, by Edna St. Vincent Millay. What lips my lips have kissed, And where and why, I have forgotten. And what arms have lain under my head till morning. But the rain is full of ghosts tonight that tap and sigh upon the glass and listen for reply. And in my heart there stirs a quiet pain for unremembered lads that not again will turn to me at midnight with a cry. Thus, in winter stands the lonely tree, nor knows what birds have vanished one by one, yet knows its boughs more silent than before. I cannot say what loves have come and gone. I only know that summer sang in me a little while, that in me sings no more. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephan. That concludes our first round of competition. Let's have one more round of applause for everyone. As we move into round two, we'll have a little different order, a different lineup of our presenters. They will be presenting by alphabetical order by last name. You'll also hear different poems this round. Of course, each student has chosen 2 poems, and this will be their second poem. It's amazing to hear all these poems, and you probably found in round 1 that you were triggered in your memory about certain poems you knew, or I know I was taken back in my own memory to having my grandmother make blackberry cobbler as Kaitlyn recited blackberrying. And it's just, it's so wonderful to hear all these poems and enjoy them and watch you guys do such a great job. That was really a tremendous round 1. So thank you so much for that. I know that we're going to get a great round 2 from you. And with that, let's proceed into round 2. Our first presenter for round 2 is Stephan Alfaro from Del Campo High School. After graduation, Stephan plans to go into pre-med program in college. Welcome, Stephan, for round 2.
Serenade by Mary Weston Fordham. Sleep, love, sleep. The night winds sigh in soft lullaby. The lark is at rest with dew upon her breast. So close those dear eyes that borrowed their hue from the heavens so blue. Sleep, love, sleep. Sleep, love, sleep. The pale moon looks down on the valleys around. The glow moth is flying, the south wind is sighing, and I am low lying, with lute deftly strung, to pour out my song. Sleep, love, sleep. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephan. Next, we have Natalie Berry from Rio Linda High School. Something people might be surprised to know about her is that she really loves video games and other mind-melting activities, she says. Welcome, Natalie.
Four Glimpses of Night by Frank Marshall Davis. 1. Night comes to the room of the world and lies, yielding and content, against the cool round face of the moon. 2. Night is a curious child, wandering between earth and sky, creeping in windows and doors, daubing the entire neighborhood with purple paint. Day is an apologetic mother, cloth in hand, following after. 3. Peddling from door to door, Night sells black bags of peppermint stars, heaping cones of vanilla moon, until his wares are gone. Then he shuffles homeward, jingling the gray coins of daybreak. 4. Night's brittle song, silver thin, shatters into a billion fragments of quiet shadows at the blaring jazz of a morning sun. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Sara DeBlonk from Natomas Charter School. She's improving in her art every day and becoming very proud of her visual art abilities. Welcome, Sara, to round 2.
Invictus by William Ernest Henley. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Thank you.
Thank you, Sara. Next, we have Ealaisa Farschman from Cornerstone Christian School. She imagines herself heading to a college for animation and art after high school and hopefully getting a job at Disney. Welcome, Ealaisa.
To My Dear and Loving Husband by Anne Bradstreet. If ever two were one, then surely we. If ever man were loved by wife, then thee. If ever wife were happy in a man, compare with me, ye woman, if you can. I prize thy love more than whole mines of gold, or all the riches that the east doth hold. My love is such that rivers cannot quench, nor aught but love from thee give recompense. Thy love is such I can no way repay. The heavens reward thee manifold, I pray. Then, while we live in love, let's so persever, that when we live no more, we may live ever. Thank you.
Thank you, Ealaisa. Next, we have Angel Ford from Heritage Peak Charter School. After high school, Angel sees herself going to college to become a veterinarian. Welcome to round 2, Angel.
My second poem is Backdrop Addresses Cowboy by Margaret Atwood. Star-spangled cowboy, sauntering out of the almost silly west. On your face, a porcelain grin, tugging a paper-mache cactus on wheels behind you with a string. You are innocent as a bathtub full of bullets. Your righteous eyes, your laconic trigger fingers people the streets with villains. As you move, the air in front of you blossoms with targets. And you leave behind you a heroic trail of desolation. Beer bottles slaughtered by the side of the road, bird skulls bleaching in the sunset. I ought to be watching from behind a cliff or a cardboard storefront when the shooting starts, hands clasped in admiration. But I am elsewhere. Then what about me? What about the I confronting you on that border you were always trying to cross? I am the horizon you ride towards, the thing you can never lasso. I am also what surrounds you. My brain, scattered with your tin cans, bones, empty shells, the litter of your invasions. I am the space you desecrate as you pass through. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel. Next, we have Kaitlyn Cooey from John F. Kennedy High School. Kaitlyn is also on her high school speech and debate team and began loving that in 7th grade. Welcome, Kaitlyn.
After working 60 hours again, for what reason? By Bob Hickok. The best job I had was moving a stone from one side of the road to the other. This required a permit, which required a bribe. The bribe took all my salary. Yet, because I hadn't finished the job, I had no salary. And to pay the bribe, I took a job moving the stone the other way. Because the official wanted his bribe, he gave me a permit for the second job. When I pointed out that the work would best be completed if I did nothing, he complimented me on my brain and wrote a letter to my employer suggesting promotion on stationery bearing the wings of a raptor spread in flight over a mountain smaller than the bird. My boss, fearing my intelligence, paid me to sleep on the sofa and take lunch with the official who required a bribe to keep anything from being done. When I told my parents, they wrote my brother to come home from university to be slapped on the back of the head. Dutifully, he arrived and bowed to receive his instruction, at which point sense entered his body, and he asked what I could do by way of job. I pointed out that there were stones everywhere trying not to move. All it took was a little gumption to be the man who didn't move them. It was harder to explain the intricacies of not obtaining a permit to not do this. Just yesterday, he got up at dawn and shaved, as if the lack of hair on his face has anything to do with the appearance of food on an empty table. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaitlyn. Our next presenter is Chigozie Maduchukwu from Pleasant Grove High School. After high school, he sees himself as a nurse or engineer. Welcome, Chigozie.
Hi again. This time I'll be presenting Let the Light Enter by Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. The dying words of Goethe. Light, more light. The shadows deepen, and my life is ebbing low. Throw the windows widely open. Light, more light, before I go. Softly let the balmy sunshine play around my dying bed. Ere the dimly lighted valley I with lonely feet must tread. Light, more light, For death is weaving shadows round my waning sight, and I fain would gaze upon him through a stream of earthly light. Not for greater gifts of genius, not for thoughts more grandly bright. All the dying poet whispers is a prayer for light, more light. Heeds he not the gathered laurels fading slowly from his sight? All the poet's aspirations center in that prayer for light. Gracious Savior, when life's daydreams melt and vanish from the sight, may our dim and longing vision then be blessed with light, more light. Thank you.
Thank you, Chigozie. Our next presenter is Hannah Oldfield from Rio Americano High. After high school, she sees herself going to college and majoring in audio engineering and jazz studies. Welcome to round 2, Hannah.
The Golden Shovel by Terrence Hayes, after Gwendolyn Brooks. 1. 1981. When I am so small, Dad's sock covers my arm. We cruise at twilight until we find the place the real men lean, bloodshot and translucent with cool. His smile is a gold-plated incantation as we drift by women on bar stools with nothing left in them but approachlessness. This is a school I do not know yet. But the cue sticks mean we are rubbed by light smooth as wood, the lurk of smoke thin to song. We won't be out late. Standing in the middle of the street last night, we watched the moonlit lawns and a neighbor strike his son in the face. A shadow knocked straight. Dad promised to leave me everything. The shovel we used to bury the dog. The words he loved to sing, his rusted pistol, his squeaky Bible, his sin. The boy's sneakers were light on the road. We watched him run to us looking wounded and thin. He'd been caught lying or drinking his father's gin. He'd been defending his ma, trying to be a man. We stood in the road, and my father talked about jazz, how sometimes a tune is born of outrage. By June, the boy would be locked up state. That night, we got down on our knees in my room. If I should die before I wake, Dad said to me, it will be too soon. 2. 1991. Into the tented city we go, weakened by the fire's ethereal afterglow, born lost and cooler than heartache. What we know is what we know. The left hand severed and schooled by cleverness, a plate of weekdays cooking, the hour lurking in the afterglow, a late night chant. Into the city we go. Close your eyes and strike a blow. Light can be straightened by its shadow. What we break is what we hold, a singular blue note. An outcry singed, exiting the throat. We push until we thin, thinking we won't creep back again. While God licks his kin, we sing until our blood is jazz. We swing from June to June. We sweat to keep from weeping. Groomed on a diet of hunger, we end too soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Next, we have Emily Rassikhin from Futures High. She hopes to go to University of California, Davis to pursue a degree in engineering and or the arts. Welcome to round 2, Emily.
Love's Philosophy by Percy Bysshe Shelley. The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Nothing in the world is single. All things by a law divine in one spirit meet and mingle. Why not I with thine? See the mountains kiss high heaven, and the waves clasp one another. No sister flower would be forgiven if it disdained its brother. And the sunlight clasps the earth, and the moonbeams kiss the sea. What is all this sweet work worth, if thou kiss not me? Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Our next presenter is Jeffrey Revello from Elk Grove High. He plans on attending Weber's Honors College in San Diego after high school. Welcome to round 2, Jeffrey.
Hello again. Now I'll be reciting The Seekers of Lice by Arthur Rimbaud. When the child's forehead full of red torments implores the white swarm of indistinct dreams, there come near his bed 2 tall, charming sisters with slim fingers that have silvery nails. They seat the child in front of a wide open window where the blue air bathes a mass of flowers. And in his heavy hair, where the dew falls, move their delicate, fearful, and enticing fingers. He listens to the singing of their apprehensive breath, which smells of long, rosy plant honey, and which, at times, a hiss interrupts saliva caught on the lip or desire for kisses. He hears their black eyelashes beating in the perfumed silence, and their gentle electric fingers make in his half-drunken indolence the death of the little lice crackle under their royal nails. Then the wine of sloth rises in him, the sigh of an harmonica which could bring on delirium. The child feels, according to the slowness of the caresses, surging in him and dying continuously, a desire to cry. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. It's nice to hear you guys recite so many of your favorite poets as well as poets who are so different from your favorites. It's really great. Next, we have Janelle Reyes from Capital Christian High School, who plans to go to college. She says people might be surprised to know she enjoys singing in a choir. Welcome, Janelle.
Echo by Christina Rossetti. Come to me in the silence of the night. Come in the speaking silence of a dream. Come with soft, rounded cheeks and eyes as bright as sunlight on a stream. Come back in tears. Oh, memory, hope, love of finished years. Oh, dream, how sweet, too bittersweet, whose wakening should have been in paradise, where souls brimful of love abide and meet, where thirsting, longing eyes watch the slow door, that opening, letting in, lets out no more. Yet come to me in dreams that I may live my very life again, though cold in death. Come back to me in dreams that I may give pulse for pulse, breath for breath. Speak low, lean low. As long ago, my love, how long ago? Echo by Christina Rossetti.
Thank you, Janelle. Next, we have Bruce Ruiz from Luther Burbank High School. He'd like to attend UC Davis's agricultural engineering program. Welcome to round two, Bruce.
Snow Day by Billy Collins. Today we woke up to a revolution of snow, its white flag waving over everything. The landscape vanished. Not a single mouse to punctuate the blankness. And beyond these windows, the government buildings smothered, the schools and libraries buried, the post office lost under the noiseless drift, the paths of trains softly blocked, the world fallen under this falling. In a while, I'll put on some boots and step out like someone walking in water, and the dog will porpoise through the drifts. And I'll shake a laden branch, sending a cold shower down on us both. But for now, I'm a willing prisoner in this house, a sympathizer for the anarchic cause of snow. I'll make a pot of tea and listen to the plastic radio on the counter, as glad as anyone to hear that the kitty corner school is closed, the ding dong school closed, the all aboard children's school closed, the hi ho nursery school closed, along with, someone will be delighted to hear, the Toadstool School, the Little Sparrows Nursery School, the Little Stars Preschool, the Peas and Carrots Day School, Tom Thumb Child Center, all closed. And, clap your hands, the Peanuts Play School. So these are where the children hide all day. These are the nests where they letter and draw, where they put on their bright miniature jackets, all darting and climbing and sliding. All but a few girls whisper by the fence. And now I'm listening hard, in the grandiose silence of the snow, trying to hear what those three girls are plotting. What right is afoot? Which small queen is about to be brought down? Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. We have DeAna Soto from Inderkum High School. She sees herself going to a four-year university and majoring in digital arts. Welcome to round two, DeAna.
Hi, I will be reciting Love's Philosophy by Percy Bysshe Shelley. The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Nothing in the world is single. All things by a law divine in one spirit meet and mingle. Why not I with thine? See the mountains kiss high heaven, and the waves clasp one another. No sister flower would be forgiven if it disdained its brother. And the sunlight clasps the earth, and the moonbeams kiss the sea. What is all this sweet work worth if thou kiss, not me? Thank you very much.
Thank you, DeAna. Paul Yegorov from Center High is our next and final contestant for round 2. After graduation, he plans on attending a 4-year university and hopefully one day practicing surgery. Welcome, Paul.
Life Cycle of Common Man by Howard Nemeroff. Roughly figured, this man of moderate habits, this average consumer of the middle class, consumed in the course of his average lifespan just under 500,000 cigarettes, 4,000 fifths of gin, and about a quarter as much vermouth. He drank maybe 100,000 cups of coffee, and counting his parents' share, it cost something like $500,000 to put him through life. How many beasts died to provide him with meat, belt, and shoes cannot be certainly said. But anyhow, it is in this way that a man travels through time, leaving behind him a lengthening trail of empty bottles and bones, of broken shoes, frayed collars, and worn out or outgrown diapers and dinner jackets, silk ties, and slickers. Given the energy and security thus achieved, he did what? The usual things, of course, the eating, dreaming, drinking, and begetting, and he worked for the money which was to pay for the eating, etc., which were necessary if he were to go on working for the money, etc. But chiefly, he talked. As the bottles and bones accumulated behind him, the words proceeded steadily from the front of his face, as he advanced into the silence and made it verbal. Who can tally the tale of his words? A lifetime would barely suffice for their repetition. If you merely printed all his commas, the result would be a very large volume. And the number of times he said thank you or very little sugar, please, would stagger the imagination. There were also witticisms, platitudes, and statements beginning, it seems to me, or as I always say, consider the courage in all that. And behold the man walking into deep silence with the ectoplastic cartoon's balloon of speech proceeding steadily out of the front of his face. The words borne along on the breath, which is his spirit, telling the numberless tale of his untold word, which makes the world his apple and forces him to eat. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Let's have another round of applause for all of our contestants today. Absolutely tremendous presentations. Really, really wonderful. Wow. Also, the Sacramento County Office of Education would like to thank all of the school coaches again. Thank you so much for your time, effort, and enthusiasm that you've devoted to all of your students and your countless hours you've put in above and beyond your regular duties. Thank you so much. Also, we would like to acknowledge the many students who participated at all of the other school sites. These, of course, were the winners that we saw today, and you can imagine with this talent how much other talent was at the school sites that we might not have seen. So thank you to all of those students who participated, and I'm sure maybe some of you are here today. I hope so. If you are, please stand up. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for coming and cheering on your colleagues and friends. And hopefully, if you are not a senior this year, you'll do it again next year and hopefully win your school competition and be here. But thank you for coming and thank you for participating. And hopefully your experience in the Poetry Out Loud competition was a good one. I really hope so. All of the students who participate, really, the Poetry Out Loud group feels are winners in gaining a broader appreciation of poetry, developing public speaking skills, and increasing their sense of self-esteem through a powerful and meaningful learning experience. And I really do believe that's the case, and I think we've witnessed so much of that, that experience today and the confidence that these young people have. It's really a wonderful thing to watch you guys present. It's moving, and I know that I'm probably not the only one in the auditorium who was moved significantly today emotionally by your presentations and the recitations of those poems, almost all of which I've heard before, and most I've never heard done that well. So that was really special for me today as a poet, to sit and listen to poetry all afternoon. What a great thing for me. It's lovely. And to hear you guys do it with such passion and such deep commitment to the work and connection to the work is really a beautiful thing. So thank you for that. Thank you for making my day so good. So we have some results, I believe, and this is what we've all been waiting for. If we could have all of you up on stage, please. Well, we do have the results for the Sacramento County runner-up and winner. Thank you, judges, for your hard work today. I said before, jokingly, that I was much happier up here. And of course, today, I really am, because that is a stellar group of presenters. I've been watching American Idol lately, and Harry Connick, he says repeatedly at all the auditions, "Man, this is the best year we've ever had," right? and it's kind of the truth, right? Like, the singers just seem amazing. This is the best year we've ever had. You guys are stunning. It's incredible, really. All right. Well, without sort of rambling on anymore, making you guys sweat and wait up here, I would first like to announce the Sacramento County runner-up for the 2016 Poetry Out Loud competition. In the event that the winner is unable to participate in the state competition on March 13th and 14th, the runner-up will represent Sacramento County. Please congratulate Miss Hannah Oldfield from Rio Americano High School. Congratulations, Hannah. And now, the winner for the 2016 Sacramento County Poetry Out Loud is Chigozie Maduchukwu from Pleasant Grove High School. Congratulations, Chigozie. Congratulations, Chigozie. One more round of applause for all of our contestants in such a wonderful, wonderful day of presentation. Thank you so much for all of your hard work.
My first poem was Filling Station by Elizabeth Bishop, and then my second one was Let the Light Enter by Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. Practiced a whole bunch for the school, and then for the next one, I already had it memorized, so it was more of how I was presenting it. I practiced a lot. The things that I've learned is public speaking and how I can say things with my own emotion, definitely interpreting a poet's words or how somebody else meant to, and annotating, rereading, making sure that I'm not misreading what somebody else wrote. So that was a good skill. It might seem scary at first, but when you're on stage, you can't see the audience, which is a plus. Plus, it's really fun to recite the poems and to put your own twists on them. And I would really encourage them to do Poetry Out Loud just because it's nice to hear poems, recite poems, and have the experience.